What up, Leaguers? Welcome to the Spectacular Spoil League. I'm the Pandan Superman, the mayor of Hype City, Greg J. Hazy, and as always, I'm joined by the Gotham Knight, the Prime Minister of Post-Production, Chris Boyce. And today, we're not just here to change our names up in here randomly, guys, because we did rebrand a little bit, okay? We did rebrand a little bit, we're not going to lie. We're here to return to the Spectacular Spoil League, to the Hall of Spoilers, to finish off a little series that we started a while back and didn't get to finish it off the way we wanted to. So we're going to continue that series, and this series is The Problem with Marvel TV, Part 2, and the topic is continuity. D. Boyce, that's not you anymore. Chris Boyce,
yes,
that is you. I like how you didn't answer. I respect that. That was good. Because we're getting used to these new names, everybody. I may not answer when you say Hazy Rome, but I need to answer when you say Greg J. Hazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or Hazy.
Or Hazy, yeah. You can still call us Hazy and Boyce.
Yeah.
That still works.
Yeah.
So, not that different. But we're just rebranding a little bit. Mm-hmm. Want people to know a little bit about us. So, we're giving you our first names. Right? Fair.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But anyway, we're giving our first names. Boyce. But Marvel TV is not giving us any continuity. and what I mean by that, and what we mean by continuity, is that Marvel TV, it has a problem that the MCU does not. The larger MCU, the movieverse does not. And that is that these shows don't feel like they're all connected. Marvel has recently stopped using this phrasing, but they did use this when they kicked off the TV universe. They used the phrase, it's all connected. And part of the problem with Marvel TV is that it really doesn't feel all that connected. Yes, they try to go out of their way to connect with the movies from time to time, but even then, it's awkward. For example, the Netflix series constantly referring to the Battle of New York as The Incident, which sounds ridiculous. Because The Incident is so vague that it's just like, why don't you just say the Battle of New York, which is how the movies tend to refer to it.
Yeah.
Or the Chitauri invasion.
Yeah.
But I feel like continuity is the issue on TV because the TV universe doesn't feel united. We've got Jessica Jones, Boyce. We've got Luke Cage. We've got Daredevil. We got Iron Fist. We got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We've got the Runaways. We have Cloak and Dagger, coming into the picture. And yet, there doesn't seem like, and Punisher, how could I forget him? There doesn't feel like a larger, a godfather over this universe, the way Kevin Feige sort of, is seen as the guide for the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Yes, the TV side has Jeff Loeb, but there's something lacking in terms of Marvel TV and them uniting their side of things. So at least there's some cohesion there to make it feel like it's connected to the larger MCU. Boyce, talk to me, man. How you feeling about this, man? What is your opinion on the matter?
I mean, I'm feeling all sorts of way. I guess to the last thing you said, as to what could be the problem or why there isn't that cohesion there. It could be the fact that maybe there's just a few more loops to jump through. Marvel Studios, it's in-house. They get the Disney money, and they have Kevin Feige, and they have whoever works with them comes on board on their terms. Not the other way around. And I think maybe that might be the problem with the TV shows where they're on Netflix, they're on Hulu, they're on ABC, they're on Fox, FX. Obviously not all of them are connected. Let's forget about the X-Men ones. Those aren't really connected. But I think that...
Oh, yeah. I wasn't even talking about like Legion and The Gifted because that's just... I mean, once the Fox Marvel deal comes in or the Fox Disney deal comes through, then we'll definitely need to talk about that. But yeah. I'm just talking about like the stuff that's billed as like MCU spinoff ish.
Yeah, and I think the problem there is, or I believe the problem to be, because obviously I'm not an insider, so I don't really know for sure. But I think it's the fact that the Marvel TV or the TV division has to work with the television networks. They have to work on their terms as opposed to the other way around. And I think that kind of makes it difficult for them to really do whatever big plan they may have or may have had. I don't think they really have kind of a big plan anymore. If you ask me personally, because you asked me how I feel about the lack of continuity. At this point, they don't even really need to acknowledge anything. As long as it's not stupid. It's going to be a little difficult. I mean, we talked about the incident with what happened with Avengers 1 and the fact that they just call it the incident in the Netflix shows. That just, it just seems dumb. It just seems kind of unnecessary, and it stands out in a very negative way that people just call it, you know, just something that happened when it really was one of the biggest things that has happened in this world that people know of. I mean, it's an alien invasion. It's not just any type of incident. It's not just any type of Sunday occurrence. And even in the MCU, they acknowledge that had larger implications. It started,
absolutely,
black market trade of illegal weapons and all that kind of stuff. And then you have,
I mean, it is the impetus behind Avengers Infinity War, essentially.
Yeah,
that's what launched off. That's what kicked off the conflict with Thanos.
Oh yeah, and it had implications for Spider-Man: Homecoming. It was one of the major plot threads for that movie. I mean, there's Wakanda coming into the limelight. That
Civil War,
superhero
that was part of the Sokovia
Accords, all that kind of stuff is big, and for them to refer to it in the way that they do is just kind of silly.
And it minimizes it. It minimizes the impact, almost.
It does. It does. And I don't know. People have differing opinions. Me personally, when it comes to specific shows, I guess like the Defenders shows, I guess they should just kind of be doing their own thing and not really mix or mentioned or just make it seem like it's very street level, very personal story. And, you know, if Daredevil season 3 comes out and there just is... It doesn't seem at all like Thanos came in through a portal and was launching spaceships into New York. It's going to be, I don't know, it's just going to be weird. It's just not going to make any sense. They don't have to connect directly like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. masterfully did with Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And it seems like they're kind of doing it a little bit again with the MCU, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I guess we'll talk about that in a little bit. You know, they don't have to do it on that level, but they also can't just pretend like no one notices this. If that makes any sense. I mean, and it's tough because they're pretty much set in New York, the Defenders, the Netflix shows, and they're major incidents. I'm even calling it the incident, but it's a major event. There's a wormhole. There were giant, I mean, these aliens were the size of football fields crashing into buildings. And it's just like, oh, well, hey, that happened like 2 months ago. And forget about that.
I want to talk about how you're even deciding to approach this conversation as sort of an example of the way Marvel TV has been set up and how it has affected our thinking. You automatically, with me talking about Marvel TV, which is a number of shows at this point, you know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Netflix shows, you know, Hulu's Runaways,
Agent Carter,
Cloak and Dagger.
Back in the day.
What'd you say?
Agent Carter back in the day.
Agent Carter as well, yeah. And you have automatically extrapolated just Defenders and Netflix to talk about it. Yeah. And I'm not saying you're wrong in doing that. What I'm trying to say is it's an exercise in how they're making us think about the world. Because those are the only thing that's connected. So we're talking about that as like sort of like a whole. And it's like, that's a problem. And then we also, you know, Kristen Ritter, she came out and she said that, how she loved doing the Defenders and she had a great experience. But she, went on to say, I don't think we're going to be doing it again. And that it was never the intention to do it again, to have a Defender season 2. And it's just like, you're going to form a team and then not do anything with them? We didn't even see real, like, that was proto Iron Fist. Jessica Jones, she was good. She was, I guess Jessica Jones as she will be, and as she'll be going forward. And I guess to a certain extent, so is Luke Cage. But my point is, you start a team and now they're just gone. Yeah. You know what I mean? They don't matter. Maybe there'll be team ups down the road. I don't know. But the idea is that you've taken the Defenders out because they're the only thing that show any type of continuity between the series, the 5 series, the series. But
That's exactly.
It's not
that's
even,
what some of those shows make me feel. Some Z's.
right. It's for real. That's true. And they haven't done enough to connect that to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which you can argue is the anchor, is the first show that Marvel TV, came out with. If anything, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should be the show that these shows are somewhat attached to or cross over with. But we already know, ABC, a subsidiary or division of Disney, has wanted to toss out Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it's been Marvel that stepped in, and Disney, I should say, that stepped in to be like, no, keep this show on the network.
Yeah, because
what I mean?
I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the one show that's tied. It exists because of, all of them exist because of the MCU, but Coulson was in like a number of movies and will come back to be in the MCU in Captain Marvel. So that it's almost like that show is really the most direct extension of what we've seen in theaters.
I agree. But you have Runaways that didn't even, there was not mention of anything Avengers or MCU related in the Runaways.
I think there was the
dude. Whatever you're gonna say is not gonna be enough. Whatever you're gonna just stop it right there, brother. Whatever you say ain't gonna be enough because you know damn well that that's the truth.
But let's be fair. Has anything happened in LA in the MCU at any point in time?
To be fair, no. Like I know
it's a stretch. It is a stretch. I'll say that.
It is a stretch. Yes. My whole point is, I'm not trying to say that they need to acknowledge everything that happens. I feel like that maybe that people might misconstrue what I'm trying to say that way. Because you could argue that Runaways did just fine. I liked Runaways. I thought it was great. You could say it did just fine not connecting to the MCU. The problem is you're billing it as something that's Marvel TV and part of this MCU. Yeah. And you're not rewarding the fans with anything that makes us feel that way.
It's very true. And
you don't see an Iron Man poster in one of these kids' rooms or something like that. You don't see, you hear about, I can't remember his name, the father of Chase's dad.
Victor Stein?
You hear about, say it again?
Victor Stein,
thank you. You hear about him being this like super brilliant mind in the world today. But you don't hear him talking too much about like someone who would probably be his main competition, Tony Stark. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like things like that could help us feel like, oh, that's part of a larger world. And you know what? Maybe the general populace doesn't even care about that. But I think for me, it's a problem with Marvel TV that it just feels like random stories in the universe, and that's what they want. I get that, but the payoff, there is a reason that people feel a little bit thirsty with these shows. I know that people have expressed, I know fans have expressed that like while the individual series are dope, they want these crossovers. They want to know if this character would ever have a chance of popping off over here or being in this show and that show. And they want to see that. It's like, for example, one of the big ones, Wilson Fisk. People want to see Wilson Fisk face off against Spider-Man. TV to movies.
Yeah, and I think,
and the chance of that happening, dude, right now, as it stands,
I think it's kind of slim. Vincent D'Onofrio is a big-time actor. He has been in a lot of movies. And I think that kind of presents maybe the only solution, at least in my mind, where maybe some of these characters are sprinkled in the movies. Because I think Marvel opened up a box that they can't really close, at least immediately, by, like you said, making it seem, insinuating that these TV shows are not just in the same universe, but tied to the movies in a way. And it's just logistically, I don't think it's possible. Like, I think it's almost impossible for the TV shows to follow the pace of the movies. And I think really the only solution, and honestly, again, we mentioned Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the end of season 1, all into season 2 was a tie-in to Winter Soldier. But I think it's almost like they took what they did in the movie and then they used that in the show as opposed to trying to build that world build within the show, if that makes any sense. So like I think what would make most sense is if Wilson Fisk is in a Spider-Man movie and then they don't have to go too deep into that when Wilson Fisk is in Daredevil, maybe a few lines here and there, but we'll be satisfied enough if he's in a movie and you see some character change or some tie to that, but not from a plot standpoint for the whole season, because I think that's kind of a nightmare, to be honest with you.
That's a nightmare. But Kevin Feige has even recently stated, and he continues to state, that he doesn't know when a TV crossover is even going to happen. He doesn't know when a TV movie crossover is going to happen, if the TV characters are going to come into the movies, because that seems to be the easier transition to make. Mm-hmm. And the fact of the matter is, if they wanted to do it, they would do it. It's not as simple as that. I don't want to minimize that it is a logistical nightmare. It probably is. But, you know, if they wanted to do it, they could, especially with the Netflix series, because there's a significant amount of time between, you know, when the show releases and filming for the next show. If they wanted to drop somebody in the movie, or for the next season, I should say, if they want to drop somebody in the movie, they could. If they wanted to shoot even a cameo scene of like something, you know, where, you know, I don't know, something about a defender and their activities in a newspaper or something in New York City. If they wanted to, they could. But I think it has largely to do with the split within, you know, Marvel Studios versus Marvel Entertainment, where, you know, the rumor, and I believe what's accepted to be truth now, is that, you know, Marvel Entertainment CEO Isaac Perlmutter had a fundamental disagreement about, you know, the movie slate and how to run things with Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige went to Disney executives and, you know, I guess, you know, gave his case for why he deserves some more damn autonomy, you know, given the successful track record he has. And Disney subsequently split Marvel Studios from Marvel Entertainment, thus making Isaac Perlmutter no longer directly in charge of Kevin Feige, and Marvel TV still under the purview of Marvel Entertainment and Isaac Perlmutter. So therefore, Kevin Feige has even less hands in the TV side than he had before. And I think it comes down to that. But at the end of the day, facts are facts. Like,
yeah.
Even if they didn't tie in the shows to the movies, I think the crux of this argument is that the shows don't even feel linked together for the most part. The fact that they did Defenders once, and Defenders, quite frankly, was underwhelming. I'm going to put it out there.
It wasn't good.
It was underwhelming. I didn't think it was that great. I think they built up Alexandria, and they had some, like, literally some twists that you know, spoiler alert for Alexandria. You know, I think I called her Alexandria, but I mean Alexandria. They literally just killed her, and that was that. And it was done so unceremoniously that it begs the question, why even do it?
Yeah, I mean, what you said is totally true. I don't know if that will continue to happen, if that'll happen again in some way, shape, or form. I think the most disastrous effects of that split was the TV show Inhumans. It's just an abomination of a show.
I forgot about that. Jesus, I didn't even talk about that.
It was that suffered because of that split that you were talking about. Now,
yes.
In terms of, you know, let's say like the Defenders, maybe the approach of what the CW does could work. I mean, maybe go old school and do TV movies, what are they called again? Yeah, TV movies, made for TV movies. They've had those a lot back in the day, especially in the 90s. You don't really see them as much anymore, but I mean, why not? Instead of trying to stretch it out to 6 to 7 episodes for like this crossover that's just not going to work and to be underwhelming like the Defenders, maybe just try something a little different and instead of, and maybe have pepper some of these characters into each other's shows. But I think what definitely works the most is when these shows are just on their own and they're allowed to breathe. Some of the ones that we enjoy the most are the Fox properties that aren't even tied to any of this because they're just kind of doing their own thing.
So you don't want continuity then?
Well, there's continuity just from the simple fact that it's the MCU, yes, but since they approach this year by year, and sometimes you don't even know if a show's going to get renewed or if a show's, what's going on Netflix, if they're going on Hulu. Just focus on the story that you're trying to tell for that specific season. So if it's Jessica Jones, maybe say, okay, we're going to have Luke Cage in this for a little bit, right? If it's Daredevil, like what they did, how they introduced Punisher in Daredevil season 2. I think that works a little bit better than trying to do a Defenders season 2. And I think,
but then you want a TV movie.
A TV. I think a TV movie.
I'm just trying to make clear. I'm just trying to figure out what your compromise is, because
yeah. Oh, okay.
We both see the lack of intertwining between these shows and maybe even the shows and the movies feels lacking. Mm-hmm. So your solution is to still focus on how they've been doing things, but throw us a bone every so often with like a crossover, like a Crisis on Earth X level crossover, if you're talking about like the DC TV Hourverse.
Yes, a made-for-TV movie, I think, is the best way to go. I mean, and Netflix, they're doing movies now. That's a thing. Instead of putting them out to theaters, they put them up on Netflix, like that movie Bright with Will Smith. Right. They could do they could do something similar. The Defenders could just be a movie instead of a whole series. Pepper in characters into different shows. And, I guess the one Hail Mary that would probably never happen, but I think would be the most effective and logistically would work, is have these characters in a movie. So have the Defenders in Infinity War or Avengers 4 for something quick. You see them or there's a quick scene. And then the writers of their respective shows can use that however they see fit. You know what I mean? Instead of totally ignoring it in ways that, obviously the Avengers 1 happens and then you cut to Daredevil and there's New York is totally fine, totally clean. There's no wreckage or nothing. Or maybe they just mention it as the incident and it sounds silly. That's just not really effective. But I think the movies, allowing them to kind of be peppered in the movies is a little bit easier for the people to do what they have to do on the TV shows. So I think that's, the best compromise I could come up with for the time being. Because it's to tie the TV shows to movies. I want to say it's unprecedented. I don't know if that's really been done before. I could be wrong about that. I could be.
Everything Marvel's doing is unprecedented.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If anyone could do it, Marvel can pull it off. Because, like you said, a connected universe. Not everybody wants to try and do that. That hasn't really been a thing before. And to tie TV and movie somehow, and they did it. I mean, look, listen. We keep talking about it. They did it with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. phenomenally. So it is possible. It is possible.
Yeah, what they did, we're referring to the Winter Soldier tie-in.
Yeah, and it seems like there are rumors that they may tie the current season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is fantastic. You should be checking it out if you're not watching it, to Captain Marvel in one way, shape, or form. I've heard rumors. I cannot confirm this. It seems like they may lead into, cosmic events in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. adjacent to what happened in Captain Marvel. So, who knows?
That is a good question. Who knows? It's rhetorical, but it's true, man. I mean, I personally would love to see some more continuity, at least between the shows. It doesn't have to be big crossovers, dude. I would just love to see, Daredevil hanging out with Jessica Jones or Punisher, making a return to one of the shows. Something that, even if a character from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. were to pop into these Netflix shows, the Runaways can stay separate, to be honest. They can stay separate. They're doing their own thing. I respect that. They don't need to be hanging out with Tony Stark. I get that. Mm-hmm. But I would love to see a little bit more of that. But that being said, everybody, what do you think about part 2 of this miniseries, Marvel TV, the problems with Marvel TV, and this problem being continuity? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And by all means, please support Spectacular Spoiler League by hitting that subscribe button and joining the cause. Feel free to drop a like on this video to help us get this video out there, and turn on notifications. It's the little bell icon right next to the subscribe button, so you could be up to date with the latest and greatest coming from the Spectacular Spoiler League. This is Greg J. Hazy. Me and Chris Boyce, we getting out of here.